All right, guys. So basically, what's happening now is I'm taking some action. There's a video I saw the other day about from Myron Golden. You know, he's I first came across him as part of like the ClickFunnels group there. I became privy to that whole group, and I came across him, and then it turns out that he was making some videos, and I really liked his communication skill and his communication style. So I was kind of listening to some of his videos, and about like there's four ladders. The other day he was talking about how there's four levels of developing or implementing your skills and abilities and things out into the world to generate income and generate money for yourself. And he said like the first level was where you can generate between 0 to 80k approximately, is where you basically have to do manual labor basically, and you're basically trading your muscle and your time for money. So it's like a limited resource. The NFL football players and stuff, that's the highest level of achievement there in terms of using your muscles and whatnot. The athletes, basketball, football, whatever else, there's a short window of time where you can do that before you're just not in your prime anymore. By the time you hit your late 30s, 40s, typically for most males in athletics, they generate a lot of money within that short 5-6 year window where they're in their prime, and then they never develop any other skills afterwards. So that's why you see all these professional athletes just balling out initially, and then they just lose all their money in their later years, living like a normal person like everyone else, because they just blew it all away, and they don't know how to do anything else. But so basically, going back to Myron Golden, he was saying like the first level of how you can make money is from 0 to $80,000, is where you're making money in that fashion, right? Okay, well that makes sense. So the next level is where you can make between 100 to like 250,000, approximately around that range, that general range around there. Six figures to multiple six figures, basically. The next set of skills that you would need to utilize to be able to generate that amount of money would be management skills. You're basically managing other people and utilizing their time to generate income for yourself. You're not directly doing the work anymore. You're employing other people and using their time that way, because there's only 24 hours in a day, right? So if you develop management skills and how to manage people and how to recruit and manage people and get them to pay them and keep them happy so that they do the work for you, that way it's not just you doing the work, it's 5 or 6 or 10 other people doing the work, and you're just making sure that the engines, the well-oiled machines running. You give them their portion of their money, and then you're taking a cut of all of it for yourself. So you're able to, it's a different set of skills you need to develop, people management skills basically, and you're able to do that. And the cap for that is like 250,000 a year approximately, which was interesting. Okay, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. For my situation, for most people, a lot of people's situation, a lot, I understand that, like, for me and maybe other people, you don't need to be doing that necessarily at this point, managing other people in order to generate multiple six figures. But I understand what he's saying, right? The concept of level one, hard labor, 0 to 80k. Okay, great. That's the general rule. That makes sense. Next level, there has to be a next level, right? So the next level he's saying was go from like six figures to like mid six figures and whatnot. Approximately, that's where you got to develop some management skills. Okay, yeah, that makes sense, because you're using other people's time. So that's how you can kind of get around that 24-hour time limit. Just add more people and get them to do the work. So you multiply the different people's 24-hour time period. You're scaling that way a little bit. Okay, that's fine. Then I'm like, okay, so what's the next level after that? And how much can you make there? And it's kind of where my headspace is at, what's possible there. And so he was talking about how the next level, the level 3, would be developing and utilizing your communication skills. And so I'm like, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean by that? And what that comes down to ultimately, what I've boiled it down to, and based off of all the other context that he's given and what I've seen, is sales. Really, I mean, being able to use your mouth to communicate ideas and communicate thoughts, get in front of an audience, and pitch ideas and share ideas and communicate ideas out into the world. Um, and you know that makes so much sense. I mean, it might not make sense to someone who hasn't experienced different things, but I mean, where I'm at, what I've experienced is like, the more I do work the more I've done work for different companies, and the more I've tried to move and make moves and whatnot, like, everything points to communication. Like, if you're going to start a business, you have a great idea, you have even YouTube, what is it that you're doing? You're creating content. What is the content? Videos. What are you doing in the videos? You're communicating things. You're just communicating things. There's 7 billion people on the planet. Maybe a million or 2 million of them might come across your video and find it interesting, and they might just want to just play it in the background and just kind of just hear what you have to say, hear what another human being have to say. The loneliness epidemic, everything else, it hits so many things, and there's people making hundreds of thousands of dollars, not a year, a month, from what I've been seeing, hundreds of $100,000, 6 figures a month, off of just consistently throwing out content out there. And what is that? That's just communication, as an example. So I mean, that makes sense what he's saying. I mean, even if you have a business, you have to get out there and communicate and get in a meeting with another business owner and share how your business can solve their problem, and what are you doing at that moment where you're trying to get him to sign the contract so you can make money so that they can pay you to solve your business can solve their business problem or whatever. You're communicating, you're communicating how you can provide value. One person can provide value to another person. Without the communication, you can't get there. I mean, it's fascinating. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. He was talking about how he gets up on stage and he communicates in front of like 1,000 people, how he can help their business skyrocket and stuff. And then he's charging like $350,000, for them to fly on his private jet. And on his private jet, he's gonna, like a 4-hour trip or whatever, he's gonna tell them everything they need to know to get going. And he has like 20 buyers that each end up paying $350,000. And within like an hour, the guy's already made a couple $1 million off of just getting on stages and communicating how he can help people. And I'm like, God, man, damn, dude. I mean, so then I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That's kind of where my headspace is at. I mean, the communication skills is like, for me, it's kind of like to hear that at this stage in my life, with all the moves and things I'm trying to make. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, it makes it just, you don't know what you don't know, and you're not going to be ready for what you hear. You're to take it and run with it and utilize it, unless you have kind of experienced these difficulties and these roadblocks and stuff as you're trying to get things done. But the way that he broke it down was really nice. I really liked it, because it makes sense. Developing your communication skills is so critical, and I'm not there yet. I don't think I'm there yet, but you got to practice. You got to get out there and practice. And so this is me just to kind of share my thoughts and ideas on where I'm at and where I'm trying to go, what I'm thinking about in my mind as I start to formulate plans and steps, get my practice in and whatnot. But going back to what Myron Golden said later, he's like, okay, and then the fifth step is the fourth way that you make money is your imagination. creating something amazing out there in the world, like some new technology or something, right? Like AI or whatever, and that everybody wants to use, and that generates you. Like, by the way, he said the communication ladder, step 3, is where you get into the $1 million to $100 million range per year, right? And then step 4, ladder 4, he said, is the imagination, using your imagination to create something. And then he's like, he even ties that 4th step back down to the 3rd step of communication, because even after you imagine and bring into existence an amazing idea or technology or whatever that the whole world wants to use, you still have to be able to communicate to the world that you created this thing so that they would garner interest, right? So he's like, even that 4th step, he ties back to the 3rd, I guess, value ladder, if I recall correctly, the communication. And so I'm trying to, as I make my moves, to try to figure out how I can implement the things I'm trying to do right now. I keep thinking about, like, okay, what is it that I need to do to get to the next step? I got to reach out and talk to people. It always goes back to just me reaching out, having to talk to people, which is communication. The way that you present yourself, the way that you communicate your ideas and your thoughts. So I'm really kind of trying to take that concept and mindset and idea and really just try to, like, internalize and compare it against what I'm doing to see, like, is this really the case? Is this, like, the way he boiled it down in such simple four steps or processes? I'm like, wow, this. So, I gotta get better at my communication. It does come down to the communication, and I'm just gonna, I'm just documenting this thought. It takes practice. I understand that part of the process. People got to start somewhere. You might. I actually expect to fail and get rejected, but I have kind of I think it's good to have kind of a Terminator mentality, not in the sense that you want to go and hurt people or whatnot, or cause damage or whatnot, but you definitely want to be resilient and have some grit, I think. And the mentality is, like, you are going to fail. You're going to go out there, a lot of people have these roadblocks where they're afraid to put their face out there, to put their to get their ideas and thoughts and just put themselves out there, because they're worried about the repercussions of what that would entail. Like, what are people going to think? But these are hurdles and roadblocks you just have to get past. You might, for example, with YouTube, you might get some people making fun of the way your face looks, making fun of the way you're looking all dusty, crusty, or whatever they want to call you, or you got like a scruffy beard, or you got to freaking look like this and that, and blah blah blah, cracking all these jokes. But guess what, dude? That's all feedback. That's all feedback that you need to take into consideration and just get better. I mean, the way that I would see it is use it as ammunition to make yourself better. Use it as data points. Be a emotionless, like, robot Terminator. The goal is you're trying to get to the next level, right? So you have to not worry about what you can't please everybody. Okay, so just take the data, take the feedback, the marketplace feedback, and iterate, improve your speech, improve what you need to improve, and get better. The thing to emphasize in that regard is you can't start iterating and you can't start getting better if you don't throw yourself out there and just throw something out there and just look at the feedback and see what you're going to get. It's part of getting better at the communication, right? Another way of looking at it, I guess, is to understand that you're going to fail at the beginning. So if you realize you're going to fail at the beginning, before you start to get good, why worry about it? Just why not just hurry up and fail? You're going to fail 30 times. most people fail a bunch of times before they succeed. You know, so go ahead and hurry up and fail. Throw some videos out there and just get better. You go into a boxing gym, you go into a jiu-jitsu gym, you're gonna get your butt whooped. For the first year, you're gonna be someone else's punching bag, or you're gonna be someone else's meat bag that they're gonna just freaking turn you into a pretzel or whatever. But hey, guess what? After a year, because you went through the pain of like improving, you went through the pain of failure, you're gonna get good. You're gonna be a lot better than the person who didn't do anything, right? So don't worry about failing, man. Just instead of worrying about failing, you should be worried about, why am I not failing fast enough? I gotta fail 30 times already. Get past that hurdle. Hurry up and fail, so I can get to the next level. Start getting good. It's never too late. These are the kind of the thoughts going through my mind. I really was impressed and really fascinated with what Myron Golden's talking about. I'm just absorbing his information as I go on walks and I go on things and do my stuff. I have him playing in the background, and I'm just thinking about the stuff he's saying. And he's throwing Myron Golden is you know, one of many speakers and thought leaders and whatnot, and the making money and improving your business and all that kind of stuff in that whole space. That's saying a lot of interesting stuff, and so I just thought I would give my input there. But on my side, I'm making progress as well. I'm making some moves on my side. We'll see where we end up. I'll catch you later, guys.